Ali, can you provide some background on the CMMC model and how that comes into play?
Yeah, and this is what I'm very, very excited about. I'm very passionate about cybersecurity, but I think if we look ahead, what year is it? 2021. And if we look ahead 10 years to 2030, 2031, CMMC is an acronym that every compliance professional, every IT professional, and every cybersecurity professional should begin to spend more time becoming familiar with this standard. The Cybersecurity Maturity Model Certification. First of all, let's get the acronym. Cybersecurity Maturity Model Certification, CMMC, it's the newest cybersecurity standard introduced from the Department of Defense, DoD. Now, our US Department of Defense has over 300,000 suppliers that they work with. A lot of these suppliers don't have good cyber capabilities in their businesses and organizations. So as a result, the suppliers are vulnerable to attacks from other countries. And if a supplier's infrastructure has been compromised and they are connected to the Department of Defense, that makes that DoD area vulnerable. So the DoD has built, it was introduced last year as a standard, CMMC, and it's at version 1.02 right now. Already immediately, a supplier has to meet CMMC certification in order to do work with the Department of Defense. That's why it's such an important standard. And in my opinion, in the next few years, not only is the Department of Defense, but all federal government agencies are going to be looking at CMMC very seriously, because the CMMC is directly addressing the vulnerabilities that we have in the supply chain. I'd mentioned earlier that the supply chain is at risk, and the CMMC is an excellent reference. If nothing else, organizations should be looking to leverage the CMMC body of work to improve and make resilient their supply chain. The other thing that I wanted to mention, why is CMMC so important? All of us are familiar with NIST, the National Institute of Standards and Technologies. NIST standards and guidance documents are followed by government agencies, federal government, state governments, county governments, city governments, and all of that. CMMC brings certification to the NIST standard. CMMC is actually very specifically built on NIST Special Publication 800-171. It has added additional requirements beyond NIST 800-171. In particular, NIST 800-171 has 14 domains. CMMC has added an additional 3 domains for a total of 17 domains. These 17 domains consist of 171 practices that organizations will need to be compliant with. So as I started studying the CMMC standard to learn more myself, I was really very fascinated with all of the requirements that are in CMMC. There are different maturity levels. So especially at maturity level 4 and 5, they're very targeted at advanced persistent threats, mitigating advanced persistent threats. And I think it's a great reference for small business, medium business, large businesses, even if you don't work for the government, to learn from CMMC and to use a lot of the body of work that the Department of Defense has established to make our cyber capabilities to be much more resilient. So to summarize my response to that particular question, and I'll put it a little differently, is that as we look to the future, as we look over the next 12 months, 24 months, as we look to the future, I think we've got to be literate with the CMMC standard. And I think forward-looking organizations are going to find a lot of value in terms of mitigating risk by implementing the capabilities that are required associated with CMMC. So really valuable work. I encourage everyone to study it, to learn more about it. And I think we're going to see a huge impact of CMMC on all federal government agencies, state government agencies, and the wider business beyond. And certification is required. It's immediate. The DoD is phasing it over 5 years, so there'll be a certain percentage that are required to be certified now in order for them to work with the government in terms of DoD. And then by 2025, 2026, all suppliers will have to meet those requirements. So I look at CMMC a little differently. I see it as future now. And if we can learn about it, we can mitigate these APT threats significantly by integrating some of those requirements in our cyber defense program.